experience trumps memory. Picture your best possible experience. A 10-year cruise through the Caribbean, maybe, or traveling across the galaxy, or dinner with God himself, and a 1947 Chevrolet Blow from the moon. How much would you be prepared to pay for this ideal experience? Take a moment to jot down a few keywords describing the most wonderful experience you can imagine, and what your highest bid would be. The following question: how much would you be willing to pay if you weren't able to remember it afterward? If you had no idea what your Caribbean yacht even looked like? If you climbed out of your space capsule on Earth and didn't know whether the planets in faraway solar system were green, blue, or red? If you couldn't recall whether God was a man or a woman, let alone the taste of the wine? If you could rack your brain as long as you liked and find nothing left, not even a trace, most people I asked replied that such an experience is not worth having. You probably feel the same, but how much would you be willing to pay for the experience if you could remember it afterward for 1 day, 1 year, 1 decade? Sadly, there are no scientific studies on the question that was originally posed by Daniel Kahneman. The responses I've gathered are anecdotal, but the general consensus is that experience only counts if you remember them. Let's call this phenomenon the memory bank. The longer we live with a memory, the greater the value it accrues. If a positive memory remains in the bank until the day you die, it will, in retrospect, be highly valued. If it only lasts for half the time, its value is halved and sold on until its value reaches zero. Without memory, the experience is perceived as entirely valueless. This is surprising, and it makes no sense. Surely it's better to experience something wonderful than not, regardless of whether you remember it. After all, in the moment you will be having a fabulous time, and once we're dead, you and I will forget everything anyway, because there will no longer be any you or any I. If death is going to erase your memories, how important is it to schlep them with you until your very final moment? It would be interesting to explore the emotional world of dementia patients, because that's precisely what they experience: a series of history, events, moments by moment, without any subsequent memory of them, as far as we can tell. This also describes the emotional life of most animals. They have moments, but few or no memories. You sometimes find carers in old folks' homes treating their dementia patients harshly and arguing that they won't remember it anyway. This may be true, but the patients will certainly experience it in the moment. This experiencing self is operating just fine, and the same goes for you. Studies show that people feel happier while remembering positive experiences, especially when viewing them through the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia. Many psychologists have concluded from this that we should take time to intentionally put the time toward creating a wonderful experience for ourselves in here and now. The effort of consciously experiencing the present moment seems to me no greater than that of dusting off old memories. On the contrary, the things we experience in the present are also much more forceful, more intensely flavored and colorful than our thought-up recollections. You don't have to experience the Paris trumped or the perfect sunset to enjoy the moment, even if, like now, you are sitting on a chair reading this chapter. You will, I hope, anyway, experience a serious and enjoyable chunk of time. Be consciously aware of these moments, physically perceive them, instead of scribbling from memories. You won't take up much anyway of a holiday. For instance, we only remember the high or low and the final part. Test commandments beacon rule. As we learned in chapter 20, we may also record 2 or 3 other sins, but that's the lot. Yet people still think they can replay their memories like watching a film. No, memories are one-dimensional, shallow, abstract, frequently mistaken, partially fabricated, and ultimately unproductive. In short, we overvalue memory and undervalue the experienced moment. Finally, in the 1960s, the awareness of the here and now came into the spotlight, and young people started experimenting with LSD, free sex, and happenings. In 1971, the celebrated Harvard professor Richard Alpert, known by his Indian crew name Ramdas, published his best-selling Be Here Now. You couldn't come up with a better model for this approach to life. Ramdas mainly propagated ancient Buddhist teaching, adapting them for the West. Today, the 1960s feeling of being in the moment is back in fashion. Now labeled as mindfulness, an elite group of urban hipsters, yoga teachers, and lifestyle coaches is utterly obsessed with it. That's all well and good, except that mindfulness is often confused with not thinking about the future, a mistake. The beloved part 2. Live each day as if it were your last. Ever popular on calendars is an idiotic piece of advice that will send you catapult into hospital, prison, or the grave in next to no time. Part of the good life is making provision for the future, recognizing dangers early and giving them a wide berth. To take away, our brains cope automatically with all 3 layers of time: past, present, and future. The issue is which one we concentrate on. My suggestion is not to avoid making long-term plans, but once they're